Welcome into the gym. I'm Tanner, your instructor and training partner for today's short movement session. I'm going to teach you how to do knee circles, an essential movement medicine for pain-free knees that move freely and easily. And if your knees already feel good, think of this as an essential preventative movement. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to do knee circles properly so that they are healing and mobilizing your knees rather than damaging them. I'm going to teach you some best practices and a little bit about the science of how they heal and mobilize knees. So let's begin by getting feet about hip width apart. Now, you've probably noticed here that I'm barefoot, and that's a reason, is when I'm doing knee circles, I like to be barefoot. I recommend you do this as well so that I can spread out my feet and root them into the ground, turning on all the intrinsic feet muscles that are our initial shock absorbers that help protect the knees. And by really rooting my feet into the ground, I keep my feet and ankles more still so that the circles we do are actually isolated to the knees, which is the joint we're trying to work. If you're in shoes sometime, especially ones with big cushions, your feet and ankles are moving all over the place, robbing your knees of the work that we're trying to get done. So go ahead and slip off your shoes real quick, spread those feet out, and really press your full foot into the floor. Now, from here, it's very simple. We're just going to circle the knees in opposing directions, trying to draw the roundest circles we can, keeping the full foot stuck to the ground. You don't want to let any part of your foot peel off the ground. So that's going to limit the circumference of your circle, but that's fine. We're trying to keep this isolated to the knees. Now, after we've done a certain amount of circles, which I'll give you some best practices at the end of the video on that, we'll just go the other direction, circling the knees in opposing directions, focusing on drawing these perfect circles. I like to imagine I'm painting the inside of a wine barrel with my knees. Keeping those feet active. All right, now here's what we're going to do. We're going to step 1 foot width out with each foot and then start over, circling the knees in opposing directions. Another best practice here is to focus on keeping your pelvis still. So you want a neutral pelvis. Another way to think of that is I want your spine, your lower back, to be long and straight in the back, and I don't want it to arch or flex. So your spine and pelvis stay totally still with the feet being locked in too. That's how we really isolate this to the knees. All right, let's change direction. Go the other way. All right, now we've done that set. Now we're going to go wider one more time. So 1 foot width wider with either foot. Lock the feet in, get the pelvis still. That requires a little core engagement. And we're going to circle again. These are going to probably be our smallest circles. And that's okay. Now, the reason that this heals and mobilizes the knees is gentle, low impact, rhythmic, and rotational movement stimulates the increase of more synovial fluid in your joints. And synovial fluid is like the lubricant that creates space in the joint, allowing it to move freely and easily without friction. It also has a healing component. And when we do these movements, we're both increasing the amount of synovial fluid, change direction in the joint, and we're spreading it over the surface of the joint more evenly. Okay, so a lot of benefits here. And then one final little best practice as far as how to integrate this into your own practice. It's great as a morning routine, definitely something to do as a warm-up before exercise. But the rule of thumb that I was taught a long time ago from a mentor of mine is that for every year of your age, do each set at each width, do that number of reps. So I'm 41 years old, so I'll do 21 circles one direction, 21 circles the other direction, and then I'll go wider, do 21, 21, go wider, 21, 21. I think that's just a great way to give our body the mechanical stimulation it needs that meets us where we're at. Appreciate you moving with me today. This is a really essential movement, but it's only helpful if you put it into practice. So think about how you can integrate this in some different ways. I'll see you in the next practice. Move freely, my friend.